Karen, and firstly thanks Hannah for inviting us all here today. Please may I introduce two of Dundee's City community leaders par excellence, as seen on the television screen, Tasha Henderson and Stephen McKenzie. I think they deserve another round of applause. They just said to me when I'm sat there, a lot changes in a year, and when we hear some of the things that have changed, not just within Tasha and Stevie's life, but others in the community's lives over the course of the year, I think they're angling for a Charleston Matters sequel to be made. I think that they're looking for that to happen pretty soon. For those that don't know what Matters to You is, what Matters to You is a community-based systems change initiative. We believe passionately that the people that know best what a community needs are the people in the community. And if you're able to put power in the hands of these people, then actually great things will happen. So it's actually not rocket science, as Peter alluded to earlier. This is just really, really good community development work, but it's actually empowering the people in the community to do that. And one of the things I've learned from this is to always expect the unexpected, because at every turn in the road, every time I'm working with Tash and Stevie, I might think something's the right thing, but in actual fact they're going to tell me what the right thing is, and they're certainly not shy in telling me that. And critical to all of that has been the relational approach, and I think we've been working together now. I'm going to get you a mic so you can like glamorous as this. I'm not. It's probably about 3 years now since, approaching 2.5 years anyway, since we first met. And the idea to set up something like a family group in Charleston working in partnership with the CLD Community Empowerment Team was something very simple. But if you fast forward now, we used to wheel in pizzas, chips, a cola, the place was packed. But now what happens, I phoned you last night just to check everything was okay for today. When I phoned you at 3 o'clock, what were you doing yesterday?
Folding papers. We were doing Mother's Day cards, and we got asked if one of the parents' partners would come in and cook for us. So it's usually me and Stevie, so we spent about 2 hours in the kitchen cooking for 50 to 60 people. So it was good to get a wee break, and now he's going to be cooking again next week. So it's coming on really good. We've got 27 families that come each week. We've got a waiting list. I think it's probably one of the biggest family groups that carries on each week and keeps going. So we're now hoping it'll start. And Venus Hill have got theirs, Woggy have got theirs, and now we're way to the Strathmartin area. So that's really good.
I think quite often it gets underplayed, but Joe, all of that, you're now a constituted group, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got 8 members on our panel. We're all parents, all started by getting invited to the group, and now we basically took over the group.
And during that journey, what do you think is the sort of biggest thing that you've learned about yourselves? Because it's been some journey over the last couple of years.
That we're all able to do it, we've all got the confidence and capability of making a difference in the community. It's now took us to doing the walkie takeover and doing our own application and funding for other groups to start. We've got a parent from our group that hasn't done anything like that, and she's put in an application to run their own wee group. We're now doing something where, what was it, AGM? LGM, in the community centre.
Local management group, LNG.
Yeah. So it's good, we're getting a partnership with different people, and we're getting their voices heard. Before it was always, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. But now we don't take no for an answer. We just go it's working. A year and a half we're still going, and we've still got new families coming.
The bit that Tasha mentioned there about grant funding is one of the things that what matters to you have done. And I don't need to mention BBC Children in Need and the Hunter Foundation that have supported this work and have been supporting it for 5 years, is we created a pot of cash, 30 grand for Lockheed, and we chose Lockheed as the first ward in Dundee. But we didn't sit down and say we're going to fund people to do X, Y and Z, they must meet this outcome, they must meet that outcome. What we did was through parents and connections in Lockheed, I think there's 11 of us on the 11 people on the panel, and it's 100% parent decided. So they came together over the course of 5 sessions, and you designed the grant criteria, and they designed the grant process. They went out into the community centres in Lockheed, Charleston and Mears Hill and sat down with other community groups to answer the questions that they might have. And then 2 weeks ago, coming up, we sat in Mears Hill, we had 14 applications from a standing start for up to, they decided what's your maximum grant?
3,000.
3,000 for a constituted group and an unconstituted group. 1,500. For certain things you won't fund. Oh, no, I've never said it. They turned one down completely flatly because there was no community voice in it. It had been written by 2 local practitioners from education, and they recognised it straight away. We had an issue with a challenge with one group because we couldn't find their accounts on Oscar, so you were off Facebooking. So the power's there, and on the 5th of April we'll announce we're probably likely to spend about 25 grand out of that 30 grand that they've decided. The maturity of that panel, there was one group, you can tell this story, it's so good, one group had asked for, I can't remember how much it was.
740 pounds, it was a wee old ladies' group, and they had to write what they were needing, and because you know, oatcakes and cheese, £5.40, well that was it, I was gone. So she's been awarded, their group's been awarded 1,500. Just because the oatcakes and the cheese.
But the bit that's important there is they recognise the good work that's being done there and actually thought that group's such a good group, they could be doing so much more.
They labelled everything down to napkins for us, it was so cute. So oatcakes and cheese were like beating them before.
So we're now doing the same in Strathmartin, and we've met with people in Mayfield, we've met with people in North East, and we'll do that there. But one of the things that always amazes me is how people like, I picked Tash and Stevie up in Charleston this morning, how they balance family life and what they do for the community. And I wanted to ask the two of you, how do you think your family now view you? How do you think the community now view you?
Yeah.
To have your voice heard and just do something that you believe you should do. And I know it's affected my son's mental health, and for the better, just by seeing what I'm doing, and it's just had that knock-on effect into my own kid's life. So I know that it's doing better for my family life, not even just in the community, but
Stevie's son comes and helps at the group, he volunteers and helps in the kitchen or activities or looking after the kids. And he was a shy wee boy, but now you can see the confidence is oozing out of him, and he's excelling in first year. He's
I may not be speaking much, but I wouldn't even have came through that door. So.
But I've met your son,
yeah.
and I think he's about 19-year-old. He's about this age. He's only 13, isn't he?
Yeah,
13. But he's just about single-handedly make sure all these tables are set up and everything like that.
Did I give him a list to do and he does it?
An awesome way. And Tash, the same for you. Has it been quite impactful?
Yeah, I was having a hard time a few years ago. I wasn't leaving my house with my son and that. It was just causing havoc. So going to this group and just taking time out for myself and my younger kids, it's worked amazing. It's helped my anxiety and how I deal with life at home.
But I'm going to, one last thing is life's not lived in straight lines, right? You've had some ups and downs,
Yeah,
right?
nothing's plain sailing and you're jumping through hurdles or you've got a disgruntled parent or stuff like that, but to go to Geoff or Elspeth and find out how to deal with it has been good, because I probably would have just kicked off, went to doors, stuff like that, but taking a step back and realising I don't need to put a Facebook post saying this isn't right, that isn't right. I know in ourselves we are doing everything right in front of our parents, so it's good to get the good, the bad, the ugly, because it can't always be plain sailing.
And you've learned from that in the journey. And what's one of the things, and you mentioned it earlier, so when we had the Make It Happen Fund open for applications, and hands up, we made a mistake when we designed it and we set it up and we opened it up. We're sitting there thinking, my goodness, we've got applications that are from adults wanting to do things for young people and youth of the area. And actually, as much as you're younger than me, we didn't have any youth voice in our panel or help make that decision. So we've been away and we've worked hard, and we had 4 young people along helping make the decisions. They led the applications in the same way, and we're having youth voice built into all the panels.
I think they spoke better than us. They're a lot more mature than us as well.
But the thing is, actually, they went away, and there was one application from, we'll keep her name away from it, but she's somebody that you knew in the community, and she'd handwritten an application to this fund to set up a little thing called mini cookers to bring parents and their kids together, learn how to cook and eat together in the community. And their application was good, but it could be even much better. And I just heard from Tash today that actually, unbeknown to me, I don't need to do anything. She and the other one of the team have been away around to see this woman. They've helped her rewrite it, they've helped in the course, and you've just told me today, because you said to her, actually a 1-hour session is not enough, you've been away and found her.
A 2-hour session in the centre.
They found the room, they found the space for it. So it's just wonderful to see it. Tasha and Steve, you're on the video, but there are hundreds of parents like this throughout Dundee that are doing great things. And I think the thing I will close with before we hand back to Peter for questions is from what I've seen and what I've learned, never underestimate the capacity and the ability of people in the community to fix things. They just need to have the voice heard, they need to be listened to, and as a number of people have already said, actually they need that action to be taken. That's the important thing. People get fed up, being consulted. You need to have to listen to them, you need to act with them. Okay. Thank you very much, Natasha.